So the way the parties stand on Brexit can tell us a lot about the upcoming election and a lot about the future of Britain. I've asked the parties a series of questions that are crucial to the European negotiations. For example, the first one is, do you want to be part of the single market? So what is a single market? Well, a single market is an association of countries trading with each other without restrictions or tariffs, as well as eliminating tariffs, quotas, taxes on trade. Also includes the free movement of goods, services, capital, and this is the crucial bit, people. So the Conservatives slightly agree. They basically want to expand the single market. So they like it, but they want to change it to suit Britain's needs. Well, Labour slightly disagree. They want good access to the single market, but they don't want free movement of people. UKIP obviously strongly disagree because of this whole free movement of people that comes with being in the single market. Well, as everybody else strongly agrees. For the SNP, that's one of the key things that has made them call for an independence referendum. Lib Dems don't really agree with Brexit at all. They see being out of the single market is disastrous for the UK, and so do the Green Party. Do you want to be part of the customs union? Now, a customs union is a group of states that have agreed to charge the same import duties as each other and usually allow free trade between themselves. A customs union and a free trade area are different because a customs union applies import duties from countries outside the area. So the Conservatives slightly disagree. Philip Hammond said it's clear that we can't stay in the customs union, wasting a lot of political capital arguing about what will and what will not be fruitful. So they slightly disagree. It's going to be too much hassle for them to stay within the customs union. Labour, on the other hand, strongly agree, and they criticise the government for actually wanting out. As you can see, everyone else except UKIP strongly agree. They all feel like the country needs to be part of a low tariff trading area, otherwise if it's not, then it's going to impact the economy of the UK. Whereas UKIP strongly disagree because they don't want to be associated with those states, and they feel that World Trade Organization rules would work for the UK. Do you want to be part of a free trade area? A free trade area is one where there are no tariffs or taxes or quotas on goods and or services from one country entering another. Different from a customs union. Customs union is more about import duties from countries outside of that union, whereas a free trade area is more kind of just an area without taxes or tariffs. And as you can see, all the parties here agree to this, mainly because a free trade area means that we get free trade, no tariffs or taxes or quotas in goods or services from one country to another. The reason why these parties only slightly agree and these parties strongly agree is because these parties believe that Britain could still be a good country under World Trade Organization rules, whereas these parties believe we absolutely cannot. We need to be part of a free trade area in order to sustain the economy. Next question, do you want free movement of people? So for UKIP, that's one of the key reasons why they ever formed in the first place, was to stop immigration. And again, Labour and the Conservatives agree that the Brexit vote was largely down to immigration. So they strongly disagree with free movement of people because they want to control immigration. The SNP, however, who belong in Scotland, believe that free movement of people, the immigration into Scotland, is actually a good thing, so they want to continue that. The Lib Dems, again, aren't really in favour of Brexit at all. They believe that movement of people can help things like the NHS, etc., and so do the Green Party. Do you want to protect the rights of EU citizens living in the UK? Now, this was strongly agreed by everyone except UKIP. UKIP slightly disagree because they feel that anyone who does not work are beggars or any kind of benefit fraud person that lives here shouldn't be protected in the UK. So that's why I've put them at slightly disagree. So following on from those questions, I put everybody that strongly disagreed with those questions and gave them more points than the people that strongly agreed. So the people that disagreed the most with all of those things, because all of those things are part of being the EU. So if you disagree with them most, you're going to gain the most points towards Brexit. And of course, surprise, surprise, UKIP gains the most points. The Conservatives are the next most Brexit party. Labour, smack bang in the middle. That's why it could prove either fatal or beneficiary for them. Fatal because people don't know where they stand. Beneficiary because they spread themselves out across all thought groups. And then, as expected, the SNP, the Lib Dems and the Green Party are down here. They don't really want Brexit to happen. The SNP want independence instead of Brexit. The Lib Dems don't want Brexit, and neither do the Greens. Also shows us how hard they want the Brexit to happen. Now for this map, I proportioned the parties up by the 2015 election vote share, just showing you the weight of which people's thinking in 2015 at least went towards each of the parties' thinking. Now, we didn't really know the party's stance on Brexit back in 2015, so it is a little bit irrelevant, but it does show the weight to which the parties may... I mean, if for example, the Conservatives gain more here, then it shows the weight to which the public and the parties will vote. And this is that spread out. So here I'm going to put various scenarios about the way I think the EU will react to the way the party's policy is. So we know the party's policy on Brexit, and if Parliament stays the same as it is in the 2015 election, these are all still proportioned to vote share size, then this is how much influence and weight they will have on the EU. The EU is going to come in a minute. And this scale is actually now a weighing scale. So we're going to weigh the EU against Britain. And if the scale isn't balanced, it means that Brexit is not going to happen, or the deal's going to fall apart, or something is going to go wrong. If the scale stays balanced, then it means that Brexit will happen. This is scenario 1, no Brexit. It presumes that the EU is going to be nasty to all those questions, so it's not going to allow us access to any of that unless we agree with having the stuff that means being part of the EU. So here comes the EU coming in with these nasty questions, not allowing us any access without total access, and of course with the prospect of a no deal, there's a chance that all the parties could just agree as much as they want, panic agree with the EU, and essentially we end up with no Brexit. So we agree to the single market, we agree to free movement, and we might end up with a Brexit in inverted commas, but we end up with essentially most of what we've already got. This is scenario 2, a no deal. So in this scenario, the EU is still being very nasty. It's still disagreeing, disallowing us access to any of those things unless we agree with them completely. And this is what I think is more likely to happen. So the EU comes in, Labour shrinks after the vote, and Labour splits. The parties that want Brexit to happen will edge further towards a hard Brexit. Labour will split partly into slight Brexit and then partly into a no Brexit. And all the parties that want a no Brexit will edge down here. And that would mean almost certain election because the country is completely divided. This is scenario 3, an ideal Brexit. So in this scenario, the EU is slightly more agreeable. They agree to certain access to some of those questions, but not. I would never expect them to allow us access to everything and still get upset free movement. I still expect them to not allow free movement without being in the single market. But this is scenario 3 with the EU being slightly more agreeable. So in comes the EU, tips the scale towards it. And then look what happens. When it looks like Britain's getting a good deal, all the parties edge towards Brexit. They edge towards wanting and so the weight of the parties balances out. The SNP would have to edge towards Brexit if it looked like it was going to be economically successful. So would the Lib Dems. The Lib Dems would probably take up Labour's old spot in this kind of middle ground, saying there's still risks ahead, etc., etc. The Labour would almost certainly go over here because they want to gain that support back, along with the Conservatives and UKIP, because they want to say, look, hey, we said Brexit was going to be good all along. We agreed to Brexit all along. Look, we're over here now. And so the scales would balance out and we'd get Brexit. So I hope that made sense to you guys about what I was thinking in trying to illustrate this. Let me know your thoughts on what I've just done. I like to know your feedback. I like to start a debate in the comments. And I like to know what you want me to analyse and think about. If you think this is retarded, tell me it's retarded. But thanks for watching. Subscribe, comment, and I'll see you soon.